Hello, my name is Alex, and today we'll be doing a presentation on the world wants its own market. So basically, there's been this new currency, cryptographic currency to be specific, called the Bitcoin that's been implemented. And one special trait that this currency has is that it's non-government controlled. Rather, it's controlled by the people, which are known as miners. And what these people do is they validate all transactions that are happening between two users, and by doing so, they're rewarded with newly generated bitcoins, which creates this incentive so that they can continue to mine. Another thing about this currency is that all accounts are completely anonymous. So here's a short little video that will explain exactly what the Bitcoin is and how it operates. Hope you enjoyed that short little video and hopefully clarified some topics about Bitcoins. So as the video talked about, there's this transparent public ledger, and this transparent public ledger is known as the blockchain. And what this is, well, it's basically what the government is to real cash, like the US dollars. So basically what the blockchain does is it records all transactions that have ever happened in Bitcoin history on the website, and it just stores them in memory on blockchain servers. And down here you see how much one Bitcoin is equivalent in US dollars. And this number fluctuates terribly. So that's one of the interesting things about Bitcoins. They can be used for like rapid investments because this number can fluctuate up to 1,000 or all the way down to 13 US dollars. Um, so Bitcoins has many problems, and that's the main reason of this PowerPoint, to investigate these problems and how it can be controversial to if the whole world starts using this currency. So one of the main problems with Bitcoins is that they're highly vulnerable to this attack called the double spending attack, an attack where basically the hacker will send two requests of to purchase an item, and in that way he will be able to double spend money, and this allows for like you can steal other people's money, you can double your gains. Also, one of the another big problem with Bitcoin is that there's a limited amount of Bitcoins that can be mined. It's currently 21 million, and this is a problem because Bitcoins can be lost. I mean, Bitcoins are only a string of characters, and they can be lost. And 21 million, once those 21 million Bitcoins are mined, when Bitcoins are lost, there won't be any way to get them back. So that's going to be a problem for the currency because it will mean the currency's value will change. Um, and that's also goes on to the next problem, which is Bitcoin was designed to increase mining difficulties as blocks are mined. And what this means is that, well, as you see, Bitcoin, the only reason Bitcoin works is because people are mining and they're verifying transactions. Well, since this mining difficulty is becoming increasingly difficult and people are competing against more and more people, people don't want to mine anymore. I mean, it just costs a lot of power and you need a special dedicated machine to mine. So if people stop mining, then I guess the currency will become unsecure and vulnerable to double spending attacks. Also, another really big problem is that the way people see bitcoins, it's like buying a share for them. They think that they can just buy a bitcoin and sit on it and make it an investment and just wait for it to grow because they've seen the prices go from 13 to 500, and they think that buying a bitcoin is just an investment and you must just sit on it and wait for it to become very valuable and then sell it. And that's not good at all because that's not how money should be used. Money should travel from hand to hand and should be dispersed as fast as possible. And that's going to be a problem in the future. Um, Another problem is that all Bitcoin transactions ever done, as I said, were recorded on the blockchain. And that's not okay because there's going to be millions and millions and millions of transactions, and what happens when those servers get full? The only way this can not be a problem is if technology advances fast enough to allow for all this information to be stored on the servers. The final one is that Bitcoin is open source, which means anyone can see the code, and since anyone can see the code, anyone can like review it and come up with a hack or something secret about it or exploit it. And if they do, they'll get tremendous wealth and they'll completely destroy the currency. Bitcoin is extremely attractive to thieves, and that is because it's free of government intervention and control, and that was the goal when Bitcoin was created. But that can be a problem. I mean, if if somebody uses a double spending attack on you, the only way you can get over it is not by contacting the police or anything. You have to track that person down and actually go and see them and beat them with a lead pipe. That's pretty much the only way you'll be able to get your Bitcoins back. Um, Another thing is that Bitcoin transactions are direct. They do not go through a bank or anything. They're completely direct from peer to peer, and they happen once, only once, unless the double spending attack is used. A third reason why it's so attractive to thieves is because a Bitcoin is just a string of characters. It can be stored on anything. You can have it. You can tattoo it on your body. You can have it stored on a text file on a hard drive. And so hacking into someone's computer can often mean having all their Bitcoins. All you have to do is find their strings of characters. And Bitcoin wallets are completely anonymous. So if I steal Bitcoins, I could store them and no one could know about it. And since I talked about all these failures, there has been a really recent major failure called the Mt. Gox. And for people who don't know, Mt. Gox was one of the largest Bitcoin exchange websites, and they recently filed for bankruptcy due to hacking. And basically, what happened was um, a couple a couple people, what they did was they employed the double spending attack before it was known to be a threat, and Mt. Gox was completely unprotected. And over time, they started losing billions and billions of, well, they also estimated an amount of $1 billion worth of bitcoins, and that is a tremendous amount of money. And the worst part of all this is that it was completely untraceable. No one knew where all that money was. No one knew who really took it, if it was people from the inside of the company or from the outside. And that's one of the tremendous biggest controversial things about moving towards this cryptographic currency system, that it's very, very vulnerable to people who, because that's the problem with technology. Like, there's always going to be vulnerabilities that are going to be discovered. And I mean, for money, in terms of money, you can't just let these vulnerabilities happen, because they happen once, and the whole flow of everything is unbalanced, and it's not fair. Also, um, Bitcoins are considered to be the most popular currency to use on the Silk Road. And for those who don't know, the Silk Road is an anonymous marketplace, which is it's very well known to be the eBay for drugs. And the number one currency on that website is Bitcoins. And basically that's a bad thing, because I mean, if we all start using these cryptographic currencies, we'll all be using money that's been used to buy drugs and all sorts of things that are legal. So I do think some government control needs to happen. Otherwise, if we start using this Bitcoin system, we're just helping the darkest side of the internet, places like the Silk Road and other darker websites. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed this.